All right, Leo, so what is going on in your love life this month? At the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Swords reversed, so this is good. No one's going to be acting crazy. All right, no one's going to be acting very crazy. In fact, based on just what I see here, it's going to be kind of solemn on the love front. Maybe because things are actually pretty stable and you have this whole air of confidence about you this month, and that kind of goes along with what I'm going to be talking about in the second portion of this reading for the extended reading. But there's a whole air of confidence about you, and so either there's not crazy energy with respect to your love life this month, or you're just not putting up with it and you're just letting it roll right off your back. If someone is acting crazy, it's not bothering you one single bit. So that is good, Leos. That is good. Okay, for starters, where are we coming from? We're coming from the Nine of Wands reversed. And again, similar to this Knight of Swords, where you're just not even dealing with something or you're not worried about it, or just in love life, things are going well in general. Same here. You're coming into this month with kind of a lighter air about you, a lighter energy, and either love is just going well or you're not stressing about it. You're really not stressing about it. Because when this card is upright, okay, barricading yourself with activities, not wanting to deal with things, so just kind of, I'm busy, that type of attitude, and being nervous about it. But here, you're not really afraid to confront anything, and there's not anything to confront. So let's talk about this, because your primary card is the Knight of Cups reversed. So when the Knight of Cups is reversed, no one is taking action or bringing messages about love. So again, you may just not be completely just not interested in anybody, really. Or your relationship is just in a nice, stable place. And I know I'm going to keep saying that. But when I do talk about your astrology, there's this very confident air about you. And money could be interesting this month. And so that could be kind of taking the focus. Or cause you to just be happy. And so you're not trying to win anybody back. No one's trying to win you back. If they are, they're not going about it with taking any sort of action towards you. So they could be taking some sort of different route. If you've gone through some sort of breakup and are trying to figure out what to do, again, you're not taking any action, but at the same time, you're also not worried about it at all. Like, you don't have worries about your love life. So your challenge or your benefit is the Five of Cups. So maybe you're not taking any action because there's been this sense of regret about something that happened in the past, but it's also maybe not the right time to work on that with your partner or work on that with your ex. Or maybe it's not the right time to go and get into another relationship because you're just not feeling it. But even more so, even if there might be a little bit of regret here, it's causing you to go through this whole transformation. Now, a lot of people have already gone through the transformation. That's what's been going on in the last couple months. But for you, Leos, you may be just starting to go through that or continuing to go through it if you have had quite an emotional last few months, like a lot of people really have. So what's grounding your month, your love life this month, is the transformation card. So maybe you left a partner because you realized they just really weren't what you wanted in life, or they left you because of that reason, or you just decided, hey, I don't want to be this type of person anymore. I need something different. And instead of just saying that and sulking, which maybe there was a little bit of sulking, but you're actually taking matters into your own hands and just going for it. Again, you're a fire sign. And as we go through September, we're coming from and going into this mutable energy. And that's really good for fire signs because things can be molded and changed and adjusted, and we can flow through that very easily in our hard charging type of way that we do as fire signs. So it's going to make this transformation very easy for you. And then here is the Emperor. So if you're not dealing with the water sign, you could be dealing with a fire sign, but this could also be you. Even though this card represents Aries, it could be you taking charge. forcing yourself to go through this transformation so you can benefit yourself. Because maybe your love life hasn't been what you really wanted. Maybe you felt like you were settling. And if you're cross-watching, maybe you felt like you were settling, so you left your Leo and they're regretting a little bit, but they're also taking the actions to make changes in their life. Not necessarily for you, but for them. And all along, the whole energy here is the Knight of Cups reversed. So nobody's really stepping forward, trying to do anything, trying to fix anything. There's like this lull. And if you're in a completely happy relationship, you're just focusing on transforming yourself. And your partner's going to be very supportive. So what we have here in the future, Leos, is the King of Pentacles reversed. So this is actually very interesting and tricky, and I'm excited to see what's in the next few spreads that I'm going to do for you, because the King of Pentacles it's first of all, we know it's an earth sign, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, but very methodical, even-keeled, slow-paced. And so either, Leos, you're not acting like this with respect to your love life, you're just going for it, or you're just not doing anything at all. And from what we've seen so far, thus far in this reading, you're not really going for it. Because I'm really sensing there's this lull. But you're very aware that there is more that you can do. The Three of Wands, this is how you are viewing your relationship or your love situation. And when this card is upright, it talks about that there's not much more you can do. If you keep walking, you're going to step off the cliff. But reversed, there is more that you can do. There's more that you could have done also. So you're very aware of this, keenly aware. And maybe that's why there's this stopping point in the progression while you figure out what these changes actually need to be from your end. Or what these changes are that need to be, like you're kind of reevaluating. Maybe my partner was dropping hints so much that I wasn't picking up on them. And now maybe I finally am understanding. Maybe I understand what they needed. So how am I going to make adjustments to give them what they needed if we reunite? Or if I just had a big fight with my partner, how are we going to work through this? I now know there's more I could have done. So you're accepting part of this blame, and you're accepting part of this responsibility for why the relationship didn't work. And here, look at this too, your partner, your person, how they're viewing the relationship in you. The Seven of Pentacles, they too are aware that more work could have been done. And not only aware that more work could have been done, but this is a willingness to work. Because the next card is the Eight of Pentacles, which is where you actually decide to put your head down and work very hard. So in your love life, your partner, either they know they could have done more, or they also know that just in general, more could have been done. So then why, Leos, is your hope and your fear the Chariot? I think if you've been in a rough patch in your love life, this is definitely a hope that you can have, that the relationship can undergo some sort of reevaluation, and there can be a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance. Because I'm sensing that you have this awareness that you could have done more. You needed to make some changes. You didn't communicate appropriately, possibly, that your partner also maybe needed some changes, and it really affected the relationship. And now there's this awareness, and it's like, I'm hoping I can have another chance so we can really move this forward. Because ultimately what you're seeing is the Ten of Pentacles as the outcome. So you're wanting this relationship to get either back off the ground or to continue and have the end result be something that's beautiful and stable and loving and kind and supportive, with financial satisfaction, with financial safety and comfort. Okay, it's not just about love and emotions. You want that stability. Okay, there's definitely a connection. The Two of Cups, I thought that was the Lovers. Okay, now keep in mind, Leos, that we're talking here about the advice and guidance. So this isn't speculative or part of the scenario, But it's a higher level advice-driven messages for you in your love life this whole month. And I will do this on the next spread also. But we have the Devil, the Two of Cups, and the Tower. So in terms of advice, what is this talking about? Yes, okay, advice. Recognize that there is chemistry there. There is a connection. Possibly recognize that you or your partner may have had some personal issues to deal with in terms of, unhealthy attachments, possibly, addictions and things like that. So if that's the case, there's at least that recognition. So recognition on the positive front of chemistry, connection, and then recognition on a negative front, if there is any, about unhealthy attachments. Maybe some codependency too is happening, and there's been some awareness brought to both of you that can change, and there's a willingness to do so. The Two of Cups, yes, you do definitely have deep feelings for each other. You do definitely both see a future there. But there is this recognition that there's a strong foundation that needs to be rebuilt. So either you did something or they did something or it just fell apart. But it looks like you're both aware that work can be done and both willing to do it, which will really rebuild this foundation. So in terms of advice, yes, potential great relationship we have here on the table, and the willingness to rebuild the foundation stronger. So next time it can end in a result of a 10 of Pentacles and not the 5 of Cups, regret. Okay, wow. For starters, look at all this red. Leos, this is definitely you and your fiery energy. This is beautiful. Despite some of the tricky messages we have here, this is still very beautiful. Look at all this red. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Wands. So interesting that the Knight of Wands, which is a fire energy, in this deck is depicted as an animal, a dark animal. All right? But we still see the lightning bolt there. We still see the energy in his eyes and the capability that we see on his hand. That's where the energy is. The energy, the result comes through action. And the bright eyes, obviously, we know. You know. There's great insight and wisdom into taking action with respect to your love life. So what I love about this card too, and just based on the message that we just had, is the action is you. Your hands have to do the action. I don't know if there's a place I can put this where it can be seen. All right, Leos. Well, the card at the center. So we have very recent, past, present, or near future, and then we kind of go through the month. The central energy is the 8 of Swords. So again, just like we saw the 5 of Cups, there's something going on in your love life that's causing you to not move forward right now. Okay? There's a willingness to, and I really think it's because you're recognizing, yes, that, okay, I have got some work to do on me. I have got some changes to do so I can have a successful relationship or fix whatever needs to be fixed in my current relationship. You're being very accountable with it. So that 8 of Swords kind of goes right along with that energy that we saw with the 5 of Cups, because there is spinning thoughts. There's deep analysis happening, maybe a little bit of, what's the word, like self-deprecation in terms of you're aware that you may need to make some changes or that you can make some changes, but also like thinking a little bit too negatively about things that should have been done or should have been said from both of your sides. So a little too much rabbit holing going on here. That's why it's a central energy, and that's why right now we're kind of seeing a pause and focus on yourself. Now, we could have other things going on in work and finances also that could be causing you to or pulling you away from your love life temporarily also. So we have the Ace of Cups here, the 9 of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. So we know the Page of Pentacles represents slow moving energy, okay, slow messages. And we know this because of everything we just talked about. There's like this lull in your love life right now. But the Page of Pentacles, when there is communication, the Page of Pentacles represents communication, just slow communication, but very grounded, honest, and purposeful communication. And so that's why I like these kind of Native American booties that he has on, because they're just they're handmade and they're made with love and care, and they're for protection. And, there's animal skin on the bottom of them to increase the protection and increase the warmth. And it just takes a whole different, natural, realistic feeling about the communication. Okay? It's real. It's solid, legitimate conversation about feelings and about a relationship. It's just slow because we're in this space right now. We also could be in workspace because the 9 of discs, the 9 of pentacles is like singlehood, likes being single, focusing on money, focusing on health, taking care of your body, looking good, going out and socializing, but just getting your life to this place where you want it to be. And there's not really a love focus. It's more like me driven. I'm fixing myself. I'm working on myself. I'm working on my career, working. And if you look, all these chakras here are actually like gears. So it's like you're turning your body and your life into this well-oiled machine in order for you to proceed through these gates. And this black and white pillar here, we see those on the High Priestess card, and they are actually, and I keep forgetting to look up the specifics of it, but they're the gates, and I think it was King Solomon's temple or castle in the Bible, that those pillars were there, and they represent this entrance way. So you're kind of, before you move forward or allow anybody to move forward into your inner being and inner soul and letting somebody back in or in, you're turning yourself into a well-oiled machine. So right now, or very recently in the past, you're just like, I'm focusing on me right now. I know I have work to do. I know we have work to do, but right now I got to just get this settled. There is love here. There was a big, blissful start to something that could have been very beautiful and still may be very beautiful, just not right now. But there is this recognition of this. And if you look here in her solar plexus, it's a ball of water, which is all emotion. So there is deep connection there between you and whoever this reading is about. They're feeling it too. You just got to get some stuff worked out. And then we have the 4 of Cups, which is, again, back to this emotion. And I know there's all this red here, but we're also talking about all this water. I mean, it's like water. There's all this blue here that I'm just talking about too. So the 4 of Cups is, look at this card. It's like crashing water and spraying all over the place and running off the rocks and running up onto the beach. So there's emotion surrounding the whole environment. However, what is the 4 of Cups? The 4 of Cups is apathy and boredom in love and relationships and not accepting love. And so you look at this shell here, and there's all this energy in the emotion and all the water. But the shell is like, I'm just going to sit here on this beach and I'm not going to allow this water to come up around me and budge me. And you are a fixed sign, Leo, also. So when you decide to be fixed, you can be very fixed. And, it makes trying to get to you a little bit difficult sometimes. But that's okay, because you're doing your thing. You're completely doing your thing right now. So, and it's good to stand your ground, frankly. So right now you're this shell here on the beach, and your emotions might be boiling up. Someone else's emotions might be boiling up, but there's this standstill mode. We talked about the 8 of Swords. Then all of a sudden, as we move through the month, and again, Mercury is still retrograde. So as we move through the month, we are going to see this opening up of passion. We have the Page of Wands. So now there's going to be communication. Okay, you may have been working on figuring out how to do this approach. Working out what needs to be worked on, doing it with your own hands, taking matters into your own hands, and then here, boom, we have this communication. And what do we have? We have these flags, and it's red, and her hair is red, and there's flowers all over the place. So it's a light, airy, passion-driven communication, but there's energy behind it. It's not like this type of communication where solid, grounded, slow, methodical, real, maybe even a little dry, okay? Applying what we've learned. Let's have a sit down and talk about our issues and applying what we've learned, okay? You're past all that. Now you're like, let's take some action. So then we have the Judgment, Six of Swords, and the Star. So beautiful. There's all this healing that's been taking place in your love life and in your relationship. There's all this work that's been done on self. There's been all this kind of isolation and going into dark places in your mind, but then realizing that you can also free yourself from it. You don't have to stay in that dark place. And all of a sudden we have the Six of Swords. So there is this freedom here. You're taking this passion, and I like the wings here. This isn't the woman on the boat rowing across the waterway going to peaceful waters. Okay? That's what it represents. But she's doing so with purpose and passion. And I like this card because she's like taking people with her. She's like, let's go on this journey together. I don't need to go by myself. And I think in the boat, normally there's one other person and a bunch of swords. But with this one, it's like, come on, let's go. Let's go work on this. Let's go be passionate together. Let's get this stuff aired out. Let's fix it. Let's talk about it. Let's do it together. Come with me. All right? So it's going to be that experience with you and your partner or love life going through this is going to be very healing. And it's all spawning from the Judgment card. Final outcome, renewal, getting ready to go to a new phase. And frankly, Leos, after all this work that you've done on yourself, and we saw it in the last spread too, all this acknowledgement and work that you've done on yourself, possibly in career also, in physical fitness, but all this work that you've done on yourself is now finally getting you to this place where you say, yes, I can invite love in, or back in, because it was here. Okay, what needed to be done is getting done. You're doing it. And I have this sense too that if you've gone through a breakup or a rough patch with a partner, I have this sense that it was really just very temporary, and there's going to be some sort of coming back together, and it's going to be very whole again. And if you're just dating, you may have kind of met somebody that caught your eye, and you may not even be aware within yourself just yet because you're busy doing you, working on whatever you want to work on and improving yourself, because you're a fire sign. You're always wanting to improve yourself. You like looking good. You like feeling good. You like earning money. You like improving yourself always. So you may have met someone that caught your eye if you're completely single and not really be aware because you're kind of doing your zone. But there's going to be something developing here. Okay. King of Wands. There you are. In all of your spiritual knowing and essence of like connecting to yourself for a higher purpose. Okay, there you are. Now this is not scenario-based speculation and scenario-based. This is high-level advice and guidance that will assist you in getting through these other 10 cards that we pulled. So just keep that in mind. High-level advice and guidance. So can reconnect with yourself, and that's what you're doing. We also have the Queen of Swords, and we see the crows here represent death, and we see this water, and we see this tree that's kind of dead. All right. So the Queen of Swords is kind of known for being the ice queen and not connected to her emotions at all, and we see that here, that in this depiction. But as an advice and guidance, this is talking about right next to the Temperance. This is telling you to not worry about the emotional state right now. Don't worry about flared tempers or imbalanced energy right now. Get connected and get balanced within yourself right now. So later on in the month, things can really start developing and going to fruition. And you'll be coming from a very spiritually and emotionally very healthy place, which you love being, Leos. You love being healthy. Coming from a very spiritually and emotionally and physically healthy place. So then you can open up these emotional gates again and allow this water to flow in. Because Temperance is balance. It's always balance, energy, emotional management. But you can also choose to let those gates open and those emotions flood in. But it is a choice. So do you. Stay in your zone right now. You're doing it effortlessly and beautifully. Going through stuff, learning some lessons. Emotions might be shut off right now, but it's purpose. The purpose for this is so you can let them in later. And we see all this red passion here later on in the month.